Hey NoClip, Frank here, and I just came back from my 4th trip to Japan where I explored many areas of otaku fandom. I saw lots of wrestling, museums, both Super Sentai and Capcom, figure shops. I made the pilgrimage to Osaka's Dotonbori, the real-world inspiration for Yakuza's Sotonbori, and visited retro and modern arcades. I'm eager to share a recap of everything I saw. Day 1. Hours after landing, I went to a wrestling show at Tokyo Square Itabashi, a new venue adding to the dozens of places you can see wrestling any night of the week. I saw one of my favorite wrestlers, Chan Yoda, and got to meet her at the merch table. I told her how much I love her YouTube videos, and she was very sweet. Day 2 is my big shopping day. First store I went to was Todokan, a 2-story wrestling thrift shop that's my favorite store in the world. It's like a museum where you can buy everything. From old WWF and WCW action figures, to worn ring gear and masks, and tons of vintage shirts. There's even multiple sections dedicated to Stardom. If you visit Tokyo and are a fan of wrestling, you have to go here. After, I went to Harajuku and got cool shirts at Fucking Rabbits, and Brain Dead, which had cool Godzilla shirts. Then I went south to Shibuya, where I saw a few real locations featured in The World Ends With You, such as Tower Records, Spain Zaka, and of course the famous Shibuya Crossing. The main mall to visit in Shibuya is Parco, which features several flagship stores such as Nintendo and the newly opened Sega store. There were even a few limited pop-ups such as Metal Gear Solid, Earthbound, and a Katamari Damacy Cafe. Every time I come here, there's something cool and new to see. At the Capcom store, I even found cute little Servbot keychains. At night, I went to Mikado Game Center, which is a retro arcade featuring 2 floors of machines. I was thrilled to see the original Beat Mania. I've been obsessed with DDR lately, and this was the first rhythm game Konami made, so it seemed essential to study. I also found a Japanese exclusive Namco game called Dancing Eyes, which is a puzzle game about undressing people. It's awesome. On day 3, I walked around Akihabara. This is my Disneyland. It's blocks of the most densely packed stores filled with anime, figures, and games. If you've played Akiba's Trip, then you'll feel right at home as the game's map is a 1-to-1 recreation.
If you want to watch Frank exploring Japanese stores for over an hour, 73 minutes, we have a video of exactly that over at patreon.com/noclip2. There's a bunch of bonus scenes and tours of loads of different video game stores, including the Sega store, a bunch of figure stores, and even a Metal Gear Solid pop-up.
Dun 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 dun. Dude, oh my god. I'm afraid I'm gonna snap it. Okay, I am hoping for Meryl, I'm hoping for Snake, maybe Otacon.
Which MGS character did Frank get? Support NoClip2 to find out.
Suragaya is one of my favorite shops because its traded inventory is always random but well priced. I was shocked to see an American game like Battlefield 2 stocked next to Japanese classics like Final Fantasy VIII and Hentai Prison. I also love Beep. This is a cool underground store dedicated to PC 98 games. Old school chiptune music blasts as you comb through decades of old computers, software, and magazines. It's incredible. Lash & Bang also has a great variety of figures, including a massive Shogun Zord for the price of $2,500. On the third floor is a Kiba culture zone where people rent out cubes to display their figures for sale. You get a sense of the curator's taste immediately. I always find something cool here. After was my second wrestling show, Marigold. It was held in the City Hall Performing Arts Center out in Chiba, and I stocked up on a ton of merchandise. After, I went near the Tokyo Dome to see the Super Sentai exhibit. This was a special 3-week pop-up featuring props, costumes, and design sketches for the 50 years of the Super Sentai franchise.
Do a trick, Frank, do a fight.
As a kid, everyone in my generation loved Power Rangers. Even the current Fortnite Battle Pass is Power Ranger themed. In Japan, it was known as Kyoryu Sentai Ju Rangers. So it was wild to see the original costumes in real life. I've also been watching the Sentai shows of the 90s, including Dai Ranger and Kaku Ranger, so I was so thrilled to take photos of everything. They even had the Akihabara Rangers at the end. Day 4 was my third wrestling show, Oz Academy at Korakuen Hall. It was a big deal for me because Korakuen Hall is the greatest wrestling venue on earth. Every Japanese wrestling game features its ring, and there's even versions of it in American WWE games, including custom fan-made levels. Here I was front row, and as a result, other fans came up to me to hand me celebration tape to throw during the entrances. It felt like a rite of passage. Oz Academy itself is one of my favorite Joshi promotions because it's so hardcore, aggressive, and cool. Easily one of the best shows of the trip. I got to see a variety of my favorites, including Unagi Sayaka, Saori Anno, Hazuki from Stardom, and I got to meet Ram Kai Chao during the intermission. After, I rushed over to Comiket, which is the biggest anime convention in the world. It started out as a comic market where people could sell fan-made art, and it's evolved into a massive gathering for otaku, including the most elaborate cosplay I've ever seen. I only had 1 hour inside, but it was enough to convince me I need to dedicate a full weekend to it on my next visit. At night, I went to Shimokitazawa to see the Let's Go's in concert at Shelter, which is the music venue featured in the anime Bocchi the Rock. The opening band was Saba Sister, who blew me away the second they stepped on stage. The whole show was so infectiously happy, it brought me to tears. Day 5 was my trip to Osaka. It was my first time taking the Shinkansen, Japan's famous high-speed train which can take you across the country in just a few hours. It was literal fast travel as I teleported from one map to the next as I exited the station and arrived in Dotonbori, the real-world inspiration for Yakuza Sotenbori. I was overwhelmed by my sense of familiarity. The bridge is one of Japan's most famous photo spots in an area in which I've beaten up hundreds of NPCs and completed side stories in Yakuza. For lunch, I visited Yabaton, which is famous for its pork cutlets. After, I walked around Nipponbashi, which is Osaka's equivalent of Akihabara, filled with retro game shops, collectibles, and its own wrestling thrift shop. In the afternoon, I browsed clothes in America Town and found ridiculous McDonald's shirts. I chatted with locals at the retro game-themed bar Space Station and returned to the bridge to see all the neon lights reflect on the river. It was beautiful. I took the Shinkansen back home in a state of bliss. On day 6, I took it easy and went to Nakano Broadway. This is a thrift shop mall for otaku where you'll find shops curated for specific fandoms. I immediately found a yellow Akihabara Ranger in the Sentai store. At night, I went back to Shimokitazawa to see one of my favorite new bands, Quin Campoi. It was at a small bar, but the environment was super friendly and welcoming. There were cool DJs playing ska and American rock and roll. I'd spent so much time lately playing Beatmania that it was funny seeing DJs spin music in real life. I felt another sensation of peak happiness during Quin Campoi's set. I had only discovered them 3 months ago, and it was surreal to be front row seeing them live in Tokyo. After their set, I told them how much I loved their music and got a picture. Day 7 was my time to play Dance Dance Revolution in Akihabara. I found Game Panic, a 9-story arcade owned by Konami which has its own professional DDR team. The Bamani Pro League have dedicated machines for practicing. It was so cool to play the most well-maintained machines in the world. To respect the arcade environment, there's even baskets so you can set down your items neatly as you play. Each game is only 100 yen per play, so I got loads of DDR and Beatmania practice. There was even a new 2025 pop and music game. I was in rhythm heaven. At night, I went back to Korakuen Hall for the greatest show on Earth, Stardom. This was the penultimate show of their 5-star Grand Prix. It was sold out and the fans were loud. Stardom is always great. Seeing shows at Korakuen Hall is incredible, but seeing them together is the best thing in the world. Day 8 was my excursion to Nagoya for the Capcom Creation exhibit, a touring museum celebrating Capcom's history. It was mind-blowing. I got to see all the original artwork for Street Fighter II, from box art paintings to even the original stage backgrounds. They would illustrate the levels on graph paper, then scan and color them on the computer in pixel art. There was also a pixel art breakdown on how the Mega Man games were animated and all the innovative techniques they used to push past the Famicom's limitations. Everything was touched upon. The evolution of sound effects, Foley recording, 3D art, sketches, character design, original development documents, and complete histories of each franchise. The museum will be touring over the next few months, so if you're planning a trip to Japan, you might be able to catch it in Tokyo in the future. After, I walked around Nagoya's Osu district. Darumaya had an incredible mural from the 70s. Suragaya had an awesome collection of retro games. I also took the time to walk to Nagoya Castle and was taken aback by the beauty of its surrounding nature and tranquility. Day 9 was back in Tokyo for my 5th wrestling show at Marigold. I practiced my Japanese when I met Mayu Iwatani and told her she was Ichiban. She said thank you very much in English, and I was very stoked. Then I went to Magra, a nightclub in Akihabara that focuses on anime music and J-pop. I discovered a ton of great new music and zoned out while reflecting on all my happy new memories. Day 10 was my last full day, so I booked it with back-to-back wrestling shows. Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling had their Princess Cup finals at Korakuen Hall. Their shows are super campy, colorful, and fun, so I was ecstatic. It was also the most Joshi tape throwing I'd ever seen. After, I took the train south to see Stardom's 5-star Grand Prix tournament finale. It was another incredible show. It was the second year in a row I went to this event, and I might make it a summer tradition. For dinner, I went to the Italian restaurant chain Caesarea for cheap pasta and pizza. It was the perfect day. On my final day, I checked out of my hotel and killed time with friends in Akihabara. I played a few more rounds of DDR and then headed to the airport early to start resting. I had seen 7 wrestling shows in 10 days, learned how to take the Shinkansen, and explored beyond Tokyo. And I cultured myself with art museums and fine dining. People joke about post-Japan depression and the fact that anyone who goes to Japan will only talk about how much they want to go back, but it's true. I always have the best time and I'm already dreaming of my next trip. Until that happens, at least I'll always have Kamurocho to keep me busy.